Hello and welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. I'm Kevin Castley. Thanks for being here today. Today I'm going to be talking about how the characterization of anti-war that a lot of people will identify as, is pure cringe and the biggest virtue signal of all time. So, what do I mean by this? I mean, you might say to me, well, but being anti-war is good, as June would say, Brainlet June, Seanhead. War bad. War's bad, though, essentially. Well, here's the problem. If you call yourself anti-war, you're essentially implying that there are people out there that are pro-war. And you're not so much implying that Putin and those folks are pro-war. That's pretty obvious. No, you're more so trying to distinguish yourself against the establishment, if you will, right? Or the neocon ghouls, basically, who are pro-war. So you'll see this with a lot of the isolationist right, some of the more paleocon type figures, and you'll see this with the isolationist populist left, such as Kyle Kulinski, the Secular Talk, Kremlin Kyle, as well as his buddy, Anthony Fantano. Not really a fan of him, not really a fan of Fantano. And I will eventually down the road be uploading content to my music channel. I don't really have very much in common with Fantano as far as his taste in music goes. But one thing that's definitely more cringe than his taste in music is his politics. And so we could take a look right here. Anti-war. Anti-war. Oh, his parents must be so proud. His parents must be so proud. Anthony thinks war bad. That's big brain boys right there. The big brain boys have rolled up. So we got Anthony Fantano, we got his buddy Kremlin Kyle. They're all anti-war. So it begs the question, who's pro-war? Well, I mean, they would imply that, well, no, the establishment Democrats and the neocons are pro-war. It's like, okay, you saying you're anti-war implies that you have some sort of moral revulsion to the concept of war and warfare and killing and whatnot. The problem with that is when you go and say to the neocons, for example, that we are pro-war, what you're essentially doing is you are characterizing us as the bad guys and distinguishing yourself as the good guys. The problem here is, well, here's the thing. War is obviously it's bad, it's hell, all that kind of stuff. Yes, but there are worse evils in the world than war. And so, for example, Kyle would probably say here, yeah, but are you going to tell me that like George Bush isn't pro-war? He supported the war in Iraq. It's like, okay, but he understood that there were far greater evils that unfolded in the Middle East than going in and taking out those evils, right? It's kind of like the same as you have a serial killer on the loose, right? And then you have a police officer that's actually showed up to put an end to it, to put the serial killer down. And you know what? In the process of doing so, trying to arrest the guy, there's a firefight. They wind up killing the serial killer. Yeah, killing's bad, right? It's bad to kill people. You could say that's a tragedy or whatever. Yeah, but you just stopped a guy who already killed like 25 people, was going to kill more people. That's a good thing. So to say, yeah, but that cop was pro-killing. It's like, yeah, he was pro-killing murderers. Likewise with us, with the neocons. Are we pro-war? Yeah, we're pro-war against imperialist dictatorships that invade their neighbors, gas their own people, tyrannize their populations, and sponsor terrorism abroad, as well as try to get literally weapons of mass destruction to aim at us. It's sometimes their own people, as Saddam did. So if you think about it, calling yourself anti-war basically implies that the other side, your conception of the other side, is just so grade school, so preschool in its understanding that they essentially think, Dick Cheney, George Bush, the neocons, the liberal hawks, all evil, all just evil because they like war. Whereas us, we're the good guys because we don't like war. Here's the problem with that too, is that it's not even exactly true. All these guys who call themselves anti-war, they don't really care when Putin invades Ukraine and Georgia. They don't want to do anything about it. They don't care when Saddam invades Kuwait and Iran. They say, well, that's not our business. That's his part of the world. That's their business. In other words, so are you really anti-war if you're not going to stop wars of aggression by the enemies of freedom? It's kind of more, as my friend Reese would say, as my friend Wyatt would say, as my friend Net7 would say, what all of us would say is that it's more that they're opposed to American intervention than they are completely anti-war, because they don't really have much to say when Saddam does war, when Putin does war, when Bashar the Butcher does war on his own people. Oh, that's their business. That's their business. Who are you to interfere with that? So in other words, they're not really anti-war. We're not really pro-war. We understand that war is a necessary evil, that it is a means to put an end to far greater and more permanent evils. I've said it before. It's like war is hell, so is communism. At least the former is temporary. Likewise, you could replace that with any sort of ideology like fascism or Baathism, for example, in Iraq. So, or Islamofascism in Afghanistan under the Taliban. Yes, the war killed people. You know what's worse? Hundreds of years of being under the Taliban. So, that's kind of the thing. So if you're going to say, oh, I'm anti-war and those guys are pro-war, yeah, you're basically, that's like the most big brain, bunk and junk, child's understanding of politics. And for once, can we just try to have a nuanced understanding of things? Because I'm here giving you a nuanced understanding of their side. They're not exactly anti-war. They're at best neutral when Putin and Assad and Saddam commit wars of aggression, sometimes against their own people. They're totally cool with that. They're totally cool. Some of them are even pro that. Some of them actually seriously are pro that. So Tulsi Gabbard, Tanky Tulsi, she's pro Assad's campaign against his people, for example, and pro the Taliban as well. So that's a bit of a problem. That's a bit of a problem. So it's cute for you to say that you're anti-war. The only people that could actually get away with that claim and have it actually be truthful are the most pacifist of pacifists that are just against war whenever it takes place. Those people are cringy. Those people still draw that false equivocation between America and Russia, but at least they're actually outraged if Putin goes and invades Ukraine or Putin goes and invades Georgia or Syria or something. That's, at least they don't like that either. Whereas with Kyle and Jimmy Dore and Fantano and all these guys, they don't care. They don't care. So it's the selective anti-war. It's only anti-war if it's America doing the war. And America does the wars to ward off and put down huge wars, actual massively deadly wars by ascendant empires seeking global domination and the subjugation of sometimes their own people and definitely those in neighboring countries. So that's, at the end of the day, what has to be said here is that if you see somebody and they've got anti-war in their bio, what they are essentially doing is that's an implied straw man. That is an implied straw man against the neoconservatives, against the liberal hawks, to say those guys are pro-war, they're bad, they're evil, I'm good, I'm virtuous. No, it's the biggest virtue signal of all time, and somebody had to come out here and say it. So next time you see something like that on Twitter or Facebook or wherever anybody calls themselves anti-war, they got in their bio, just send them this video. You don't need to write a bunch of text or anything to them. That takes time, effort, right? You don't have the time for that. The patrons pay me to have the time for that. So here we go. So you can send them the link to this video and it's all sorted out. So thank you for watching, everybody, and have a good day.